All right, we are live.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the shithole.
Yeah, you could say that again.
I mean, I am just sitting here fucking fuming. It's the rage is coming out of the pores of my skin. I oh
I can feel it.
yeah. I mean, I'm glad we call this a therapy session because I sure as hell need it. Um, I've been getting emails from my readers all day saying the same thing. Uh, yeah, man, I'm fucking mad. I mean,
Well, I don't want to make you angrier, but I did pull down one or two clips that you had sent.
yeah.
So
Show the
let
show
me
the
throw
dancing one. Show that shit.
uh,
Let's show the people at home exactly what kind of
this is
fucking
the
psychos we're dealing with.
celebrating, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, hold on. Let's put it up.
Oh my god.
Yeah, this clip did not come with audio, so if people can't hear stuff, it just is a clip
I mean,
without
look at
any
them
audio.
fucking dancing. I mean, do you need the audio? Look at these fucking jackals dancing. They're dancing on the graves of millions of Americans they just sentenced to death. I
I'm gonna
mean,
put up one other
thank God
one.
they're think I mean, thank God they're Christians. How fucking bloodthirsty would they be if they weren't?
I mean, that's literally true. Here, one more, just not to like send anyone's rage to the roof.
Because our border will remain fully and totally secure. The Republican Party stands for law and order, and this is the side that stands with law enforcement, the brave men and women who are on the front line. The idea that those who put their own lives on the line to protect us would be assaulted for doing their jobs is unconscionable. Law enforcement, I know you agree. I know, amen. Law enforcement.
I'm really curious your take on this, given the fact that the guy has got a plaque honoring January 6th officers in his basement at the Capitol.
My take on it is not only he a dishonest, lying scumbag, he delights in being so. That's the only reason you say shit like that is when you're a troll. You're not a statesman. You're not a serious person. You're just a limp dick, soulless troll who gets off on making your fellow Americans angry with your bullshit. We all fucking know what happened on January 6th. We all know 140 cops were injured that day. We all know Mike Johnson has refused to honor them, has repeatedly lied about their service. And that tiny peckered little shit is going to stand there and claim to support law enforcement. It's trolling. That's all it is. That's all the Republican Party is a bunch of fucking trolls.
Yeah, I think one of the things that is equally as dangerous, obviously, because it's tied to the bill, as the bill itself, is the fact that a lot of people tomorrow and 3 months from now, and maybe even in October, heading into the election next year, are going to be able to, Republicans specifically running for office, are going to say, has it affected you? Because a lot of the things in this bill is going to take time to affect people. So they're going to,
Yeah, they
they're
pushed
taking
the
away 20. Yeah.
yeah, they pushed the Medicaid cuts till beyond the midterms. I mean, is that not the most cynical shit you've ever heard in your life? But the reality is, what they did was just take a giant shit on the economy, and that kind of stuff will be felt. Like what they've done by turning ICE into a new branch of the military, there's not going to be any way to not feel that. I live in Los Angeles. We've been occupied by the U.S. Marines for a few weeks now. You're starting to feel it here. There are restaurants that are having trouble staffing up. The fruit vendors I usually see at the beach aren't there. So I think that the Republican cynical approach is, oh, hey, we outsmarted everybody. We had this cute little maneuver to where we pushed it all past the midterm so nobody's going to notice. Bullshit. People are going to fucking notice. You saw today news that there's a health clinic in rural Nebraska that's closing. Why are they closing? Because of the Medicaid cuts they're anticipating. That's the way business works. They don't wait for shit to fall apart before they realize, oh, we're screwed. They look at the forecast and realize they're screwed. I think the American people are going to be the same way. My only question is, how many Americans even find out about this? I mean, we know CNN will both sides this shit to death. The idea that Jake Tapper, Jake Sherman give a fuck about any of the 17 million people who are going to lose their health care is a farce.
Any of the
So, I
Jakes.
mean, look, yeah, I know. Yeah, Jake squared. Fucking. Anyway, I apologize if I'm not super articulate today because I am just beyond
That's okay.
livid.
I actually feel like I'm
Apoplectic,
the
I think is
therapist
the right
today.
word. Yeah, no, you're
I'm
cheaper
just
than
as
my
angry
actual
as you,
therapist.
by the way. I think I just haven't, had a moment to process everything. So
Yeah, and man, I really didn't want to bring this energy today because I know how fucking scared people are. I know how almost hopeless people are at this moment. And I would like to be the guy who's saying it's going to be okay. I would like to be the guy that's saying, we can reverse this. And I believe that. I do. The reason I'm going to keep fighting at this point is because what the fuck else would I do? Roll over and quit? Put on a red hat and start kissing orange ass? That's never going to happen. I'm going to keep fighting for
but it
what's
would
right
be a
because it's
lot
in my
easier
DNA.
and people do it because they make a lot of money off of it.
Yeah, no, that's it. People who don't have any conviction, any belief, or any compassion for their fellow American, it's just a fucking game, right? It's transactional. Uh, no, I am going to keep fighting because it's the only thing I know how to do. I was thinking this morning about there's a line from The West Wing. I always feel like such a cheesy loser quoting The West Wing, even though it's really good writing. But remember, Amy Gardner is talking to Josh Lyman, and he's asking her if she's still upset with him because he defeated her in like this legislative standoff. And she kind of shrugs. She says, I fought you, I lost, I had a drink, and I went to bed. When I win, I have two drinks. And I sort of like that, which is, we're going to have to take a minute to hurt. We're going to have to take a minute to feel this pain to let it motivate us, right? Tomorrow's the 4th of July, which is just a cruel, cruel coincidence that we're supposed to celebrate this backwards, broken country tomorrow. Uh, I'm going to do my best to enjoy the day. I'm going to do my best to put on a smile, go surfing, see some friends, eat some hamburgers. And then Saturday I'm gonna wake up and I'm gonna figure out how to get back in this fight, how to get my mind back in this fight. Uh, but right now I just want to be angry. And that's the other thing I would say to the sexy patriots out there is let people be angry. I know we have a tendency on our side to want to tell people that they're not being angry the right way. You shouldn't use those words, shouldn't say that. Um,
I
let
feel
people
like in
feel.
this household we have two rules. It's what would Jesus do and let Sam be angry.
Yeah, it's I don't know. At least I don't know. I'll take righteous anger over the stupid shit I'm usually angry about. But no, I think we've got to be kind to each other for right now. We've got to give each other a break. Save our anger, save our venom for the fuckers that deserve it. Um, but I mean, it's hard right now. It's hard to look at this and not be completely discouraged. Uh, and look, if that's what you're feeling, congratulations. You're having a normal reaction to a bunch of soulless dirtbags trying to kill you. You should be
Literally.
angry. Yeah, you should be scared. You should be angry. You should be sad. The country that you were told you live in is a fucking lie. And I'm sorry to be so, I don't know, overwrought or hysterical, whatever, but it's
I'm
just,
sorry to sound
goddamn.
so much like the newsletter.
Yeah, yeah, man. It's just God. It's a lot to accept. It's a lot to come to terms with. That this is actually who we are, and I continue to believe that there's more of us than there are of them. But God damn, it's a dark day, man.
It is. And I want to also pull up an image really quickly to put up here. I thought this was a great post by Brett Meiselas. He said, the fucked up thing is we all know when these Republican voters start losing their health care and their family members die, they will find a way to blame Democrats.
No question about it. No question about it. I mean, it's like this guy out here. ICE took his wife and he still got his fucking Trump flag flying in his yard. It's like, it came to this guy's living room and he still can't accept it. I mean, we call it a cult because it is. There's no reason. There's no logic. There's no compassion. Reality is not getting in through the cracks in the window. And I'm not going to join them. So I'm sure as shit going to keep fighting them. But I think it's okay if we take a minute to lick our wounds, because this is a gut punch. There's no question about it.
Yeah, I mean, and it's also the I know there's a lot of people that are concerned whether or not there's going to be an election in the midterms. There's elections this year too, but as many have pointed out, right, this is a battle, and you can lose a battle. It's almost like your West Wing comment, right? But this is a war.
Yeah. I mean, my alternative is, what's the alternative? We give up? Like, we just roll over? I mean, that's never going to happen. Like, if I'm the last person in this country pissing on a red hat, then so be it. Yeah, it's, but that's right. I mean, it is a battle. There is a war. I see that comment a lot. In fact, I just saw someone on Instagram say, you're crazy. If you think there's going to be an election next year, I've got some property in Florida to sell you. It's like, is that supposed to be clever? Is it supposed to be all knowing? Because I'm sure as hell not going to give up elections without a fight in this country. I'm not just going to assume it's all over. I think that's what fascism wants. Fascism wants you to believe that this is inevitable and that fighting back is pointless. Well, fuck that. I'll fight till my last breath, man. This is what rebellions look like. It is hopeless until it's not. You're defeated until you win. And it's just, we could use some Ted Lasso right now. Somebody give us a pep talk. I was going to try and put on that hat today, but I'm just too goddamn angry.
Here's one from B. Sam, your new palm tree decor is cheering me up in a way that the ones right outside my house don't. So, yay.
Yeah, well, there were quite a few comments about the I think a lot of people were wondering if I was coming to you live from an asylum with my all-white background.
The worst part is I didn't even notice it until I saw B's comment. That's how out of it I am.
Nothing gets by you, bud. Yeah,
Except
no,
for
I do love the palm trees, and that I'll tell you, I think right now we're sort of desperate for those things that put a smile on our face, and that's what I would say is it's okay to be angry, it's okay to be sad, it's okay to be scared. But don't let them rob you of the things you love, of the things you enjoy. Keep doing that shit. Smiling at a time like this, laughing at a time like this is an act of rebellion. And, it's, we always use the Mark Twain quote that nothing can stand in the face of laughter, at least not for long. And, yeah, but I'm sure I'll get there. But right now I've got a steam coming out of my ears. It's funny. I'm not even as red as usual, which I thought I'd actually be twice as red today.
No, you're looking pretty good there.
Relatively normal.
Yeah. I also have, this was a long week, and I have a couple videos I wanted to get your reaction to, and I pulled a few, but there's unfortunately the helicopter in the background, so I'm not going to do those ones. But I want to start with I guess you call it a fraudulent slip. Here we go. Let's pull this one up.
Long time since a Republican won the city. Yeah, but you would think that a Republican would be able to win. Or you have a good independent running, Mayor Adams, who's a very good person. I helped him out a little bit. He had a problem, and he was unfairly hurt over this question. He made a statement to the effect that this is terrible. New York City can't have all these immigrants come in. And like he was indicted the following day. And I said, that was a phony indictment. And it was a phony indictment. That was a Biden indictment. I said, don't feel bad. I got indicted 5 times every time you opened your mouth. That was a bad group. That was a very dangerous group, I will tell you. These were not nice people. That was the only thing they could do. They had no policy. They had no skill. They had no anything. But they were very good at that. They were vicious, vicious, horrible people.
So he kind of made a little point there about doing a favor.
You know, I love it when a guy calls me a not nice person from his concentration camp. I mean, yeah, but I mean, that's exactly right. I mean, he's plugging Eric Adams because Eric Adams owes him a favor, right? You heard that billionaire butt crack, Bill Ackman, say he met with Cuomo and Adams and decided to back Adams because of his smile. And it's like, yeah, it couldn't possibly be because he puts those smiling lips on your ass and kisses it. Yeah, I've been encouraged this week to see more and more Democrats, national Democrats, getting on board with Mamdani's election. I'm really excited. I'll tell you, I appreciate the concerns that some people have, but from everything I've looked at, this is the kind of person we want in the party. We say we want young men. We say we want excitement. This is what he's bringing. I'm struck that as a party, we often say we want excitement, we want young men, and then we say, no, not like that.
Right.
We're going to have to broaden this tent. You know, that's one of the things I love about the Midas guys is that basically their ideology is, are you pro-democracy? Like, that's a very welcoming position. Now, I'm a little bit more of a purist. I tend to expect people to fight for shit that matters.
You don't say.
um, but I think, you know, we're nearing the point where it's, are you for fascism or against it? And yeah, well, some of us picked sides a long time ago, and others are too late in waking up.
Yeah, that's such a good point. I love this comment from Dawn Teague. Let everyone be angry. We endorse
Goddamn
that.
right. Yes.
Thank
you, Don.
There was, you know, for the guy that is allegedly has his pulse on this country. Here's another clip that I wanted to get your reaction to, which
This
you've probably
isn't
seen, but
to quote Ross from Friends, this isn't helping my rage.
all right. Well, this will be I don't know if I have any positive ones. This will be maybe the last one. All right, well, let's take a look.
It was when I first came in. You know, we lowered the cost of groceries. A simple word like that, groceries, it was like almost a strange word. I hadn't heard the word in so long, but what could be more beautiful than the word grocery? And we have the prices way down. We have the energy way down. Energy brought the groceries down, if you want to know the truth. And, you know, so we think we're going to get it lower, and we're going to fill up the it's called the Strategic National Reserves. I had it topped out, and this guy would use them every time before the election. He'd use them whenever they had an election. It was artificial. But believe it or not, as big as that are tens of hundreds of millions of barrels of oil, all filled up at low prices. But it was
I just wanted to point out, like, it's incredible that this guy, who is apparently like a representative of the American people, right, can say he hasn't heard the word grocery in a long time. I mean, obviously we know that because of what he eats, and he doesn't go grocery shopping, and, you know, but what do you think?
You know, I think if that was a Democrat, the press would be going on and on about how fucking out of touch he is, that he doesn't know what groceries are. I mean, George H.W. Bush didn't know what a grocery scanner was, and it fucking killed his career.
Yeah, that and looking at the watch. Were you the one, Sam, yesterday that sent me that the post that where someone was talking about Build Back Better and how Democrats called this Build Back Better, and the mainstream media was basically like, I think it was Kyle. It was basically like, you know, going on and on about Biden. Meanwhile, big beautiful bill, and the media just runs with it.
It has been shameful. It has been shameful. I saw this clip of Wolf Blitzer this morning. He's like, what do you say to people who say it's going to cut Medicaid? It's like, hey, Wolf, why don't you read the fucking bill? And then you won't have to say critics say it will cut Medicaid. It's right there in black and white. And, you know, it's sort of like, you know, the Beltway scumbag saying,
the CBO,
this is a victory.
CBO
This
came
is a
out with
victory
stuff
for
too.
Trump. Yeah, no, this is a victory for Trump. Well, fuck you. I mean, to me, this is what happens when you have a press corps, a political party that have so much money. They spend all their time at country clubs. They spend all their times with other rich people. You know, Trump doesn't know what groceries are because he hadn't been in a fucking grocery store probably ever. You know, and being out of touch used to matter. It used to be a cardinal sin in the world of politics. I'd like to go back to that. I'd like to elect somebody who actually knows what the fuck it's like to work for minimum wage, who knows what it's like to be hungry. There are just too many people in the briefing room in the Capitol who just don't, they either don't know that or they don't remember it.
Yeah, that's such a good point. And also, on that subject, I guess it's a therapy session, right? So like we have to tackle the things that we don't want to talk about, even if they make us angry.
Yeah, no,
This
that's
is
exactly
something
right.
that I that I saw on CNN that I wanted to get your reaction to because it's just like, when is this fucking craziness going to be over? But and I'll say this with
It's going to
out
be
of
over when
respect.
we stop it.
Yeah. Again, this is a CNN clip. We have a couple thousand people, by the way, on live. Thank you guys so much. Wherever you're tuning in, Substack,
Hey, everybody.
YouTube.
Sorry, I'm losing my shit today.
No. This is great. But unfortunately, it is CNN. However, I do respect Sarah Seidner, but this is just kind of insane. So let me pull it up.
I mean, every politician would like this number here, especially to see it go up. How about compared to other presidents who were Republicans?
Yeah, it's history making. It's history making. What are we talking about here? So why don't we look back? We have all the presidents, Republican presidents, going back over the last 35, 36, 37 years. What are we talking about? GOP, who strongly approved 5 months in. Look at this. George H.W. Bush, Bush 41, 46%. Bush 43, 59. You see Trump, the first term, 53. But look at this. 63%. He beats all the other Republicans on the board here. And I was looking even back since Reagan. And get this, Donald Trump beats Ronald Reagan when it comes to the strongly approved 5 months. And of course, Reagan was coming off that high after that assassination attempt. So the bottom line is Donald Trump is making history with the Republican base. He is more beloved by this Republican base than any Republican base loved any GOP president 5 months in. It is history making.
I will just say, to Harry's defense, not that I need to defend him, if he was speaking at his mother's funeral, that's how he would sound in terms of, energy and other stuff like that. But what is going on?
It's like Chris Cillizza shat out a more loser version of himself. I wish,
Although I feel like Chris Cillizza's got like deer droppings. You know what I mean? Or something like that. I don't know. I think that the guy's just not human. But whatever.
no, he. It's funny. I saw a picture of him the other day. He looks like Christopher Lloyd at the end of Who Framed Roger Rabbit. It's like being a soulless hack is like destroying his physical appearance. So you can see
and
like
I sadly
his soul is corroding the rest of his body.
I think I've told you this before, but I sadly live around the corner from him, so I avoid coffee shops in our neighborhood now, so I don't have to see.
So you've seen him walking on both sides of the street,
or his Tesla that's all fucked up, right? Because I think that like people went after it.
No, they put a fucking sticker on it. He cried like he'd been
is that what it was? Okay, got it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, he's a fucking wimp. Yeah, he wrote a whole piece about it. Somebody put a sticker on my car. It's such a tough life. Again, he ain't losing healthcare today. Nobody's taking food from his kids, so he can act like.
Well, that's such a good point that you made online. Sorry, I dropped my glasses. You made such a good point online in the last 24 hours about how who was it, John or someone at CNN? These are not people losing their health care.
No, it's like a game. Nobody, their kids are just fine. They will not. I'm going to put them in a camp. Well, not yet anyway. They have the luxury of treating this like a game. Most of them have gotten
Sam,
quite
can
wealthy
you
during the
say
Trump
that one more
years.
time for folks? You froze for like 6
What's
seconds.
that?
Just
yeah,
your
they
response
have
in
the luxury
terms
of
of
treating
them
this
losing
like a
healthcare.
game. Yeah, they have the luxury of treating this like a game. Most of them have gotten very wealthy during the Trump years. The book sales and stuff like that. Look, I was a reporter in Washington for many, many years. Reporters didn't used to get famous like this. There were like a handful of people on TV who you knew, but most people just went into the background. We all dressed like shit. We made a good living, but not like what you're talking about now with a lot of these reporters having second homes, shit like that. And at some point, they became just another corrupt Washington special interest. They incentivize shitty behavior. They don't give a rat's ass what's happening to any Americans outside the Beltway. I think most of the Americans inside the Beltway. To me, there is no difference between a House Republican and a insider Beltway reporter. They have the same interest, which is kissing Trump's ass, delighting in his antics, his deadly antics, and capitalizing off of it, being rich off of it. And so, yeah, I have a special contempt for people that aren't going to lose anything, have no skin in the game, and then treat this like it is a game. Um,
So on that topic,
I think
something
that
that
kind of
I've
works.
always struggled with is, and maybe more so before some of them left, right? Like when Jim Acosta was at CNN, now he's gone. But
Mhm.
the best example would be Natasha Bertrand, right? You've got these really incredible authoritative
Mhm.
reporters who, and again, we even have one at Fox News that we just saw in the briefing room. It's like
Yeah,
as a
Jennifer
for
Griffin, yeah.
yeah, Jeff. There's a lot of people tuning in that probably don't know your background as a former White House reporter who traveled with President Obama and Mitt Romney and others. Do you think that there is? I mean, obviously with Substack and others, there's a growing. We see it. People are moving over to independent media. But do you think that there can
Yeah.
be in the future almost like a new mainstream media where the Natasha Bertrands and the Katie Fangs and the Jim Acostas of the world come together and are all working together? Or is it just is it what we're seeing, right? Like the sort of slow
Yeah.
movement to that, and it's sort of siloed. Katie Couric, who went to my rival high school growing up, and isn't I don't agree with a lot of stuff that she's done recently, including having Jake Tapper on, but I was happy to see that she brought on the Midas Touch brothers, and I've known her for a long time because her sister was my state senator who died at a young age of breast cancer.
Mm. Um, I love that high school rivalries stay with us pretty much
They
lifelong.
do.
I'm glad you mentioned that.
Although
To
my high
answer your
school name
question,
changed. We
I
were
don't know.
Washington Lee. We're now Washington Liberty.
Oh, interesting. That's a good change. I like that. I endorse that.
Yeah.
My high school was the Red Devils, and you can imagine how the Christian groups in the Bible Belt want to change that. But I went to a basketball school, and we ain't changing shit.
We just
No, to
learned where
answer
you
your
get your
question,
color from. And anger.
my color and my mouth. Uh, no, I mean, you ask a really good question. I have a hard time seeing a world where we return to sort of a legacy media setup, and I see that as both a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing in that people like Acosta aren't contained by corporate bosses anymore. They're not being told what they can and can't say. They're free. They're liberated to say what they want to say and tell the truth. The curse part of it is we're so fragmented that nobody is drinking from the same fountain. Everybody's getting their information from different places, and so everybody's sort of living in their own reality. I was actually having this conversation earlier this week. I talked about this a lot. In the '80s, I don't know, some people watching who are my age or older will remember this. There was a TV movie called The Day After, and it was about the effects of a nuclear holocaust. And like 100 million people watched it because there are only three fucking channels. And it had such a profound impact on the American psyche that it literally changed policy at the Reagan White House. Like that was how much of an effect it had. You think about Matthew Shepard's murder. How much that had effect. I think now, because we are all sort of scattered in the wind.
Sam, just so you know, your connection
You
is a
look at it,
little breaky, which is going to make me prioritize finding you
shit.
a good mesh network. It's a little in and out, but
Yeah.
up to Matthew Shepard, it was good. I just want to flag for people, not to cut you off, but I'm cutting you off. Sam is reminding me that I grew up the same. Like my argument for not going to college right out of high school was, well, Peter Jennings didn't do it. And I used to love watching Peter Jennings at night. So anyhow, I just, in case your
Yeah.
connection gets a little better, that's why I just jumped in there.
Yeah. Can you hear me okay now?
Yeah.
No, I was just going to say, one of the things I think, one of the reasons that the George Floyd murder really broke through, I think, is because we were all at home. We were all at home with COVID, we're through COVID. And so we were all sort of watching the same thing. And we
That's such a good
reacted
point.
the way we should react. Now, I don't think it's a coincidence that you've had the rise of Trump and fascism in America, just as we've become completely splintered, just as we become, we're blowing in the wind. It's um, it's concerning to me that we are all choosing our own reality. And I don't know until we figure out the Fox News problem, until we figure out the CNN problem. I mean, we can talk about messaging and messengers all fucking day long, but as long as these corrupt, assholes are holding the megaphones, I don't know a way around that. I really wish Democratic billionaires would spend more time trying to solve this problem and build media and fund media instead of going on social media to play Democratic consultant. We've got enough of those. We got that handled. There are plenty of Democratic consultants. The idea
We
that we
got a
need
handle, but
billionaires.
we don't, unfortunately. Otherwise, we'd be
Yeah,
winning a little more.
yeah, ain't that the
B
truth?
says B's back. Oh my God, high school was also Red Devils, so that might be why you guys share the same anger. B, if
Yeah,
you're also red, let us know.
yeah.
By the way, this show
I've
will
got
get
some
more and more fun as we
red
go on
judgment going on.
because we're starting to get more and more options here, which is kind of fun to put stuff on. But I will just flag that we will figure out whatever is up with Sam's connection and get him what he needs this weekend.
Yeah, is it really that bad? I'm hearing you just fine.
Yeah, no, I took a picture too. I think you're getting the audio good, but like your video keeps getting a little choppy too. But for the 90% of it's been good. I've been interrupting you when it goes in and out. It's probably because
Oh, I got you.
you're under occupation by ICE.
Yeah, that probably has something to do with it. And also, like, I'm hulking out, like, rage wise, so maybe that's it. Maybe my anger is disrupting the signal.
Could be, but you look pretty good. The palm tree is a little more clear than you. My local rep Canada sent a survey in the mail with MAGA-like rhetoric. By the way, I don't know the exact number, but thanks to everyone on Substack because we're in over 140 countries now. So next week I'll have the exact number, but
Are you fucking
it's
serious?
pretty cool. Yeah.
Wow,
I mean,
140 countries.
amazing. Yeah, and
That's
thanks to you
almost as
all
many
on
trade deals as
Substack.
Trump's made.
Yeah. And if you're watching from YouTube, wherever, that's how many times he's promised to have something in 2 to 3 weeks. If you're watching on Substack, thanks to you guys, we should say, because I feel like we don't talk enough about all of the amazing stuff that we're doing thanks to everybody. We're 97 on the Substack bestseller list now, but the reason we're at 97 and not 98 is we were at 98, but we passed libs of TikTok, which is awesome.
Suck it, libs of TikTok. Eat shit.
Yeah.
Fucking bigot.
So we're gonna work a little extra harder just in case. That means like we're just 1 or 2 away from falling back behind them. Also, there were a couple people that we really don't like who fell off the top 100 in this process. So I mean, it's really cool to be in the top 100 bestseller. But more importantly, I mean, everyone watching is the one making it happen. And I will also say this was really important to Sam and me, but Sam really drove this point home. We will continue to always keep it free. There's no paywall. And what's cool about that is we've had a number of people reach out. Some of you guys have been like, hey, I can't afford anything, but like I'd like to make a $5 contribution, 2-3 months from now, and I'm in a better place. Like that, we don't want that. But what is cool from that is that the people that are not in a position to do it are still sharing it. And you guys have brought in people who are in a position to do that. So the only reason we are in that top 100 bestsellers is because of paid subscribers and non-paid subscribers. So nothing will ever have a paywall.
Yeah, it's really an amazing thing. I'm just so fucking relieved that we're not alone. I'm so relieved there's so many people out there that feel the same way. And we really try to make this as accessible as possible. I try not to put New York Times or Washington Post links in there. in part because they suck, but also because they're subscription only. And I try not to put paywalls in there. So I look for alternative sources. So if you ever notice, there's like a lot of HuffPost, or a lot of NBC, there's a lot of AP. That's why, because there are no paywalls to get you that information. And we like to link. We like to include links, so there is sort of that grounding in legacy media. I think despite their corruption and their eagerness to see fascism take over this country, there are still good reporters out there doing their damnedest. I tell you,
Yeah, no, that's such a good
I went
point.
off on one the other day. I know these people, and so like I'll DM them
Well, hold on,
sometimes when I
Sam,
just
before you even say that, let me just tell people, even if Sam isn't sharing it, he also goes off on people over text and DM. And these folks cannot control themselves and write him back very quickly. But he holds them accountable publicly and privately. This isn't just something that he's saying. These are his former colleagues who, a lot of them are now turned tourists, and he doesn't hold back. So
no,
it's like
really
Terry
hate me.
McAuliffe. Who you see publicly is who you get privately. Sometimes
Yeah,
privately is worse, just to be honest.
yeah,
As
no, it's
your
true.
therapist.
Yeah, no, they really, really hate me. And, I used to be a relatively popular guy in that city. No, it's I sent an AP reporter a message the other day, and I was just kind of making fun of something he'd written, and he wrote back, "Nice to hear from you too." And I just said, keep being glib, because it's not your family that's going to go hungry. It's not your family that's going to lose health care. So just keep treating this shit like a joke. And I doubt that breaks through. But I have just decided in these last few years, I am going to live my values. If it costs me friends, fine. They're not the kind of people I want to be friends with anyway. This is a clarifying time in the life of our country and in our lives. I saw a woman on Substack earlier today, one of our readers, who said her family won't talk to her because of her politics. And I was just saying, this isn't about, they're not talking to you about politics. This went beyond politics a long time ago. This is about values. This is about morals. This is about the kind of country you want to live in. This is about the kind of person you want to be. Do you want to be the kind of person that cheers at the idea of immigrants being eaten by alligators? Then congratulations, you're a fucking scumbag. Or do you want to be a good person who looks out for your neighbor, who looks out for your community, who actually wants to live in a free country where people are free to be themselves, to express themselves? I mean, I tell you, it took me years just to get past the shock of learning that we didn't all feel that way. And now I know it. I'll never forget it again. It will keep my eyes open from now until the end of eternity.
What's interesting on that is growing up in high school, I had a history teacher, and I also had like terrible ADHD. So I had like my 7th period was to make sure that I did my homework at school because they knew that I wouldn't do it at home. Because at home, I wanted to go work and cut lawns and all that kind of stuff. But this woman, she was very helpful. She shaped my life in many ways. And she was the wife of a sitting U.S. senator. Her name was Susan Thomas. Her husband was Craig Thomas from Wyoming. And that was a very different Senate back in the day. But what she used to say to me, and she's still around, and I love her. Her husband passed away. She used to say, as you get older, well, we've all heard, right? You'll get wiser and you'll become a Republican. But to your point, as I've gotten older, I think the wiser part has been weeding out friends, right? Like I want my friends to either have nothing to do with politics or like, and not know what their politics are, or like if they're talking about politics, they are aligned and on the right side of history. I don't have any time, whether it's for family members or anyone else, that is going to be part of a system that takes away 20 million plus from folks. So your point, I think, is so good. I mean, we are at a point now where, everyone knows, that a lot of people know my better half supported Donald Trump in 2016, but she wasn't like a repeat offender, and she grew up conservative. And by 2020, was volunteering for Joe Biden, and 2021 working for Terry McAuliffe. And I just think, no matter where you're at, you're welcome. But come on, guys, like, you're killing your own family members, you're killing yourself. And some of this stuff is going to affect you. Once you get to a point when you are in need, it's not going to be there, So if there's people that are actively supporting this, just cut them out. And by the way, I don't know about you, Sam, but everyone I've seen that joins the Democratic Party or leaves the Republican Party and does whatever they do, they look better, they look healthier, right? And then everyone who goes on the Republican side looks like Kimberly Guilfoyle.
Yeah, there's definitely the Mar-a-Lago face. I'm not ready to go as far as you are and tell people to cut them out because, families are tricky, especially if you're from part of the country I'm from. What I will
Well, I
say
just
is
want to say
this.
this. I have people like you in my
Yeah,
family that I love, that we just don't talk about it. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
No, I would
But
say this. I would say
they're
don't cut
starting to
them
see
out.
that things that the Democrats have done are benefiting them, including Medicare and Medicaid, whether they're older or having other issues or cancer or other things like that. Like, all of a sudden, they're in a position where there's a game changer in their life because of things that Democrats did.
Yeah. Yeah. My advice is never, cut somebody out, although I've done that quite a bit in these last 10 years. No, my advice is to stand up for what you believe in. And if that costs you friends, if it costs you family, then they're probably doing you a favor. Because, like I
Yeah.
keep saying, this stopped being about politics a long goddamn time ago. This is about values. This is about your soul. This is about the kind of person you want to be. And if you think it's funny to laugh at the idea of some poor immigrant getting eaten by an alligator, then I don't want to be your friend. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to hear that because I just don't think it's funny. I think it's cruel. I think it's kind of psychotic. And I wouldn't trust you around people I do care about.
Yeah, I mean, it's disgusting. By the way, we have over 4,700 people now tuning in
Seriously?
live. We've
How
had
many?
more than that.
Is that
Some
like,
have come and gone. Across platforms, we're at 4,732. So I think we're gonna get to. Oh, thank you, guys. I should say this. Hit the share button, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. We'll get better at this. I can barely keep this thing running at some point.
you sound like my
Kyle is
nieces. They're little.
yeah,
They're always like, every time I
um,
FaceTime with my nieces, they're like, hit the like button, BB. It's because they watch all those shows on YouTube. And I'm 1,000 years old. I have no idea what they're talking about.
yeah. Well, if you're on YouTube, please hit the little bell button after subscribing so you get notified when we go live. But no, it's been really amazing, and I think one of the good things. I mean, I lost a family member in COVID. My grandmother at 94 went into the hospital and didn't even have COVID and caught it in UK. But one of the good things that came out of COVID is there's just been so many changes in terms of technology and the ability to actually connect with people and do what we're doing right now.
Yeah. And
And
I mean, and we
this
fucking need it, man. We need this community. Can you imagine going through this alone? Can you
no.
imagine? I mean, that's, I hear about people, blue dots in red states or red cities or red towns. And I- if that describes you, please know you're not alone. We know you're out there, and we are so goddamn grateful that you are fighting the good fight, because we know it's not easy. It's always easy to be courageous when there are lots of people around you who feel the same way. But when it's just you and the
Be a
mob is
John
going the
Lewis.
other way, what's that?
Be a John Lewis.
That's exactly right. Get in good trouble. It's yeah. Whew,
I'm
man, this
1,000
has
years
been
old
a
too, and now I only watch independent media. Thank you. I
yeah.
turned the big 4-0 this year, so I'm just gonna enjoy
You
the last
did?
couple months of my 30s. In October,
Oh,
I will.
God, I always
The
think of
problem
you
is,
as
for
like,
years I've been saying next year I turn 39, next year I turn 40, and then it kind of hit, and I just should have enjoyed the year that was happening.
yeah, yeah. I'm 48. I'm sure as hell not giving away the 2 years before I turn 50. That's
Yeah, no, I know you're not.
yeah. In fact, I might
But
I
no,
might
it's
just start lying about my age. It's
It's a good time to be alive. I mean, I don't know. Every year I feel that I get older, I feel better, happier, all that kind of stuff. I'm gonna get a bigger screen this weekend so that I can actually put all these comments up now that I know how to do it. Sam, one thing I'm thinking as we're talking is because people are chipping in on Substack and stuff, I think I'm just gonna get us a Washington Post and New York Times subscription so that we can then use a gift link in our newsletter because it's unlimited reads. So if we just get like 2 or 3 subscriptions, we could probably save thousands of people from having to chip in to those entities.
You know, I think I'd rather take that money and use it to buy a really greasy burrito and then go take a shit on Jeff Bezos's front lawn. I feel like that would be a better use of those funds than subscribing to the Washington Post, but maybe that's just me.
Well, as
I'm
long as you
sorry.
as long as you film it and we blur it up. RKT Elliot
Yeah.
3, love you, Sam and Uncles Adam and Uncle Sam. I love that you got so Sam is an uncle. That is why we call him
Yeah.
Uncle Sam. But it's
I used to host a podcast. I know a lot of y'all.
yeah, you
There's
got to
quite
bring you got
quite
to
a
bring
few.
it back because what we're building
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
today's big stuff has become the alt media sort of as the umbrella. That way we can post other stuff. And then we've got the newsletter underneath it. But thanks to Substack, it now links up with Spotify and everything else. And I was talking to Brett Meiselas yesterday, and because Midas on Spotify now has video, and I'd only seen that with Joe Rogan. Actually, Kyle flagged it for me, and then I reached out to Brett. And so I think soon, if we figure out this vendor correctly, we'll be able to put this video on Spotify. Cool, or Spotify too, which will be cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
I
know
really like
folks are
that. I
just
love doing
everywhere.
that podcast. It was
It was great. It was
so
called Burning
fun to,
Bridges with Sam, and if you
kind of
know
be able to
Sam,
tell
he
some stories.
burns a lot of bridges.
Yeah. It's true.
Burns less
It's
bridges
true.
nowadays though, because
Every
he's
single
cleaned
one out
up
of
his.
DC.
No, I mean I will say this though, in terms of Sam, he is, he protects the integrity of who he is, and I don't. There's a lot of reporters that we've seen recently that are good that have been fucked over where they work. We've mentioned some of them, right? Like Kitty Thing and Jim Acosta, but
Yeah.
Sam has gone a little bit of a different route, which is, he walked away from that and kept doing the good pieces, but he doesn't want to be I say you doesn't want to be invited to parties. He doesn't care about that kind of stuff unless it's going to be like Green Day or I'm thinking back to what's the one, Don't Call Me Daughter.
Oh,
you know what I'm talking
Jam. about,
Sam? Yeah, Pearl Jam.
Pearl Jam?
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
If you're watching and you're tied to any of this stuff, he wants to be invited to Pearl Jam and everything else. But he doesn't give a shit about any of that stuff.
I'll tell you what I crowdsourced this morning. I have 2 dear friends here in LA who are both screenwriters, and they're both a little bit older than me, so I think of them like big brothers. But I'm not really a Hollywood guy. I don't really get involved in that aspect of LA. But I did tell them this morning if they have any connections to Charlize Theron, I just learned this week that she's single, and so am I. So if anybody out there,
Aren't you
knows,
supposed to get on that app Raya or whatever?
yeah, I think that's for people with talent, and I haven't
I
gotten an
mean,
invitation.
we have a couple friends, right, that met through that. Well, I know of a couple people who met through that are not very talented. So I think you just got to find the right person to make sure you get on that. I'm going to be very generic here so that they don't know who
There's
I'm
a
talking
lid
about.
for every pot, right?
Yeah, and they're friends. I love them. They're not talented. I need to look at the comments too, because that would be a wonderful relationship to see you in. I'm gonna have to replay that clip on Instagram and everything else.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you've never seen the movie
cut that
Atomic
from here.
Blonde, holy shit, it's awesome. I was just talking about that this morning. Atomic Blonde. She plays a spy right around the fall of the Berlin Wall, and it is a really cool, stylish movie. And she's fantastic. Plays such a good spy.
I haven't seen that, but I also haven't seen the movie that you mentioned at the beginning when there wasn't a lot on TV. So I got that, so I can check that out tonight. Latest comment. Preach, Sam.
I see you, Tim. Thanks, buddy. Man, Tim has been with us for a long time. He's an OG sexy patriot, and yeah, I saw one of his comments. He was saying that his in-laws are MAGA, and but he and his wife are united. And I think that's the main thing. Like, we don't choose our families except for the parts that we do. And if those values are aligning, then you're a very lucky person, and you should hold each other tight and hold on, because there are a lot of forces out there trying to come between us all.
Muse Tutor on Substack says Yahoo, Google, Apple News all copy stories from legacy media. So we really are needing Washington Post, New York Times, Boston Globe. I don't know if that means that those ones don't carry over.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Yolanda Green said, Sam, thank you for sharing your story today.
Oh, yeah, no, thank you. Thanks for reminding me I'm not the only person seeing this shit. I'm serious, man. I know
I
say
know
this
you
every
are. No, I
week.
know. I mean,
It's
look,
just,
this is why,
man,
look, this is the longest we've ever gone. We're at
yeah, no,
50
there's
minutes
just,
and 53 seconds.
I mean, we need each other right now. There's no way around it. We need numbers, but we also need just to know that we're not alone. That other people are crying, other people are cussing, other people are afraid, angry.
No, it's true.
And while it
Rebecca
might not
Clow
be a
says
ton
you
of
can only. I'm
it
sorry.
might
Go ahead,
look, it
Sam.
might not be a ton of comfort right now, but no, it's okay. I was just gonna say it may not be a ton of comfort right now to know that you're not alone, but it sure is hell better than the alternative. And it's how we fight back. You're not one person standing in front of a tank in Tiananmen Square. There's millions of us, and that is what gives me hope on a shit day like today, when there's not much else to be hopeful about.
I see
This has
M.
been good. This
I
has
don't
been like
have.
a really effective therapy session. I've actually like calmed down a lot.
I think. Well, I'm just trying to get you to the second hour, so you have to pay me for 2 hours. I'm kidding. I just saw this note. Hold on, I got two things that I want to bring up really here. This is like Twitch or something. I really like this. Okay, so I'm going to bring up this comment again next week. But M says, Adam, I'm the same person who commented on your show earlier this week, and you responded in such a lovely manner. You're doing great work. She sent me a really cool. Actually, I sent it to you, Sam, because I thought it was so cool. It was like a very long note about her and her husband and like how hard they've fought over the years and how they've passed the torch on to their kids. And I'll save it for next week. But for some reason, the moon is now bigger on my screen than it was when I was looking at YouTube. So I just pieced that together. I really appreciate that. Rebecca Clow says you can only pay for so many Substacks. I'm not that wealthy. I totally agree. We're not as well. I only am paying for 2 currently, and maybe 3. I'm paying for Jim Acosta and Katie Fang because I wanted to support friends who did the right thing. When they were both in shitty positions and help them get off the ground. It is tough, but again, like sharing makes all the difference.
Adam, I think maybe we should tell folks, what we do with the money from people who
I got
do
to
pay
figure out,
Substack.
Sam, where did you just hold on a second? Sam's on the screen, but he's not like fully on the screen. Kyle, you're on here. If you can like bring Sam back.
What happened? Oh, there I am. Hey, welcome back.
Okay. Hey, thanks. This is why I need a bigger screen, because when I have a small screen on this desk, it doesn't allow me to edit stuff. Okay, go ahead, Sam.
Yeah. No, I was just gonna say, we have to fund this stuff, and one thing that allows us to do is say fuck you to anybody we want to say fuck you to. We don't have to like worry about hurting somebody's feelings. We don't have to worry about upsetting advertisers. So yeah, it's just the gift of independence. It's liberating. It's but yeah, Adam is right. We have insisted. We started this newsletter about 6.5 years ago. Can you believe it's been that long? But we have insisted throughout that
It
it stays
feels like I've been
free,
dealing with your
even
shit
while we
for
were
50
watching.
years. I'm just kidding. I'm just
Um,
kidding. I
no,
love this guy.
even while we've watched, centrists and scumbag assholes get very wealthy off of stuff like Substack, our belief was always, and forgive me for sounding sanctimonious here, but our belief was always that this newsletter had a purpose, um, which was to help people get through this shit time. And so we've been resolute from the beginning, not going to price anybody out of this thing. So if you are a paid subscriber, it's huge. It means a lot to us. It helps us keep going. It helps us be free to say what we want to say. But if you're not, we're just so fucking glad you're here. Yeah, anyway, that's my little spiel about the money stuff, because I'm not good with money. I don't love to talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think I just need to cancel my cards and then figure out as I get emails what I still need. Like this system that we're going through right now, I think it's like $100 or something a month, but it's super helpful so that we can reach everybody.
Yeah,
But then I
I
find
know
all
you're
these
so good
random
with all the
things.
tech stuff. It's oh,
I'm
Tim
terrible
says
though. I learned partly from Kyle. Sorry, yeah, Tim.
yeah.
Can we also
No. Tim
go ahead.
says, can we throw some love at our trans friends and family? I hate how they're being scapegoated and further marginalized. Amen, Tim. Thank you for saying that, buddy. Yeah, we're sending all the
Yeah,
love
I got
to our
something
trans
on that
friends.
topic too. So
I mean,
while
we're all
this
having a
vote,
hard week. They're having a hard week with the stuff at Penn, and then the Supreme Court making it pretty obvious they're going to segregate sports. It's, I mean, talk about people who need to be told that they're not alone and that people love them and care for them. That's us. We're sitting there telling you right now, you're not alone. It's, you can come sit at our lunch table anytime.
and on this topic, I'm going to tie this back to what Tim just said. It'll make sense in a second. Sam, it probably won't at first, but a friend of mine who's running again against Marjorie Taylor Greene, these races, everyone always says can't be won. And her margin of victory was pretty decent the last time, but also a friend of mine who ran against Lauren Boebert, everybody told not to support, and he came within 500 votes. Just imagine if the DCCC had help. But what was interesting is the New York Times had reported after the election last year that Sean Harris, who's running again against Marjorie Taylor Greene, it was one of the two top districts in the country that outperformed the presidential more than anywhere else. So he outperformed the presidential ticket in that district by 8%. And so to Tim's point, I was looking today during the vote because Sean just, he needed some help as he was getting up and running and, wanted to avoid hiring a bunch of people. And I looked at Marjorie Taylor Greene's Twitter account, and for the fourth, I mean, she's literally giving away one of her favorite guns, and she's shooting at open borders and trans rights. So I'm really, really glad he said that, because this is the shit that people are doing. They're not, they're not talking about what they're voting for and all that. And she's the one, as we all remember, when Joe Biden said that they're going to take away your health care, she yelled liar. So.
Yeah. And then today
The
she
trans
voted to
community
strip healthcare from
needs some
17
love.
million people. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's a good flag from him.
Yeah.
Well,
Thanks,
we could
Tim.
start to wrap
Good
this
call.
up, but I feel like I don't know, when you're not doing some of your other work, maybe this will turn into a 2-time a week thing if we can fit it in and we can get the technology right so that we can feed comments more. I don't know. This is great. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, man. I'll tell you, I needed it today. Thank y'all for putting up with me while I vented and raged. I figure most of y'all know where I'm coming from and are feeling the same way. Um, I really wanted to try and think of something positive to say today. And it's funny, of all the people to quote, I was thinking of John McCain used to give this quote about that came from Chairman Mao, of all people. He'd say, "It's always darkest before it's totally black." And sort of I know it's gallows humor, but that's where we are. We're in the darkness, and the only way to get out is to keep going. And I don't know. At least we're not doing it alone, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. That's such a good point. And on that, I'm not doing this because I'm going to bill you for a second therapy hour in 30 seconds. 59 minutes and 30 seconds. I have one clip, I believe, here, so we can go out on a high note. We should remind folks that today, Hakeem Jeffries made history on the House floor. Speaking, I think it was when he hit 8 hours and 33 minutes, but we do have a clip. I'm going to pull that up really quickly, and then we'll get Sam's reaction and we'll close this thing out. So here it is.
I yield back.
So the full clip was about 3 minutes or so, but really just a remarkable moment today.
Yeah, there's been a lot of criticism of Democratic leadership, a lot of it by me. I think Hakeem rose to the moment today. He pushed that vote into the daylight, so the Republicans had to face the American people while they took away their health care. He gave voice to people who are hurting. He called out by name people who have been wronged by this administration. He also called out people by name who need to get their asses whooped in next year's election. Uh, the 3 Republicans here in Southern California should go ahead and start planning for retirement because we're going to take those fucking seats. I think what we've wanted for a while, what Democratic voters have wanted for a while, is to see that Democratic leadership gets it, that they get what this moment is, that they get what we're feeling. And to me, right now, it's less about ideology and it's more about, are you going to fucking fight or not? Because if you're not, get the hell out of the way for somebody who will. And I think if this is a truly galvanizing moment for leadership, for rank and file Democrats, then the party will get behind them. But if they if they fight like this week and then turn around and go back to wink and nod bullshit with Trump people, it's going to hurt them. I mean, we've already seen, to me, you want a lesson from New York. The lesson is the establishment Democrats should be fucking terrified and they should be listening to what their voters want. Because we don't want to hear about what good friends they are in the cloakroom. We want to fight. We want them calling this shit out. And if they do that, we're going to have their backs. And if they don't, we're going to take their seats.
Yeah, that's such a good point, and that's such a good line to probably end on because I got you over an hour. So
Thank
I'm
you.
gonna do what we. No, hey, thank you, man. This was a great session. I'm going to leave this open for a 60-second countdown when we're done. That way, if people want to keep conversing in the comments or try to exchange ways to stay in touch. But Sam, you want to do a happy ending? Maybe it could be about your burgers or grilling this weekend.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, I do love to grill. It's one of those things that relaxes me. I love to cook out. And yeah, I'm going to have my buddy Joe and his girlfriend over and we're going to cook. And it's,
And if Sam ever invites you over and you have to cancel on him, he will not be upset because he will eat your food.
this is true. Yeah, this is true. It's not going to waste. That's for damn sure. Yeah, it sucks. I love the 4th of July. It sucks to be face to face with what our country is right now, and frankly has been for a lot of history. I'm going to continue to celebrate independence from a king, and then I'm going to declare independence from another king. And there are going to be some shitty times ahead. This is real stuff. It's not just a news cycle. It's real life-changing stuff. And like we always say, if you're going through hell, keep going. And so that's where we are right now. We're in hell, and we got to keep going.
I think that's a great way to end. All right. Well, thank you to everybody that is subscribing on all these channels, sharing this stuff. And I would be remiss if I didn't say, make sure to always comment on anything we ever post if you have the time to do so, because Sam reads every single word and gets very concerned if he doesn't see anything.
I know. I also push back a little bit sometimes, and maybe I shouldn't.
Yeah, I
I mean,
mean,
that's the thing. I mean, that's the thing. Like, you at least,
constructive, we have,
with
as
us,
you
you hit
called it, we have a couple
authenticity.
of our in-house resident Trump supporters, and we have not kicked those out. I did block the first person ever on Substack the other day who was just making a bunch of anti-Semitic and crazy allegations about,
I'm
me,
not
my
cool with
family,
that.
Ukraine, and others. So that one's gone. But otherwise, I am one of the few people on Blue Sky who has never blocked anybody. If you ever check the block tracker.
I don't know how you do it. I block like I told somebody the other day, I said on social media the other day that my blocking philosophy comes from Kendrick Lamar when he said, "I'll cut my granny off if she don't see it how I see it," and that's basically how I feel too.
Well, I just we've got so many great people. They just take care of the garbage for me. So I always appreciate it.
Yeah, man. If you don't mind, I just want to take a second to say thank you to everybody who joined us. It's I'm kind of blown away by how many people it is. I needed this today. I needed to know y'all were out there. I needed to share my rage with some like-minded folks. Thank you. I needed this. I'm feeling a little better. Take a deep breath. I'll probably smoke a
I
little
feel
weed,
better too,
watch something
because
funny,
before we got
and then I'll
on,
get
I
back to
was
the fight.
worried that Sam was all pissed off with me and I did something wrong. And then I realized I've just been running around with the kids and the dogs and all this stuff, and I hadn't had a moment to feel the outrage yet. I'm sure I will later, but
yeah.
this was fun.
Yeah,
This was a lot of fun.
it's well, it allowed you to play therapist. If we were both raving and ranting, it would be counterproductive. So I appreciate you.
I
keeping a
kind of
cool
think
head.
that like this is a good role. I will never play cuck, but I'm happy to play therapist.
The funny thing is, y'all are getting a glimpse into Adam and I's relationship for the last several years, and we really are a Sour Patch Kid. Like, except it's like a reverse Sour Patch Kid because he's the outside and he's very sweet, and I'm the inside and I'm very sour. And but together it works. It's yeah, I
It
like
does
to think
work.
this
Every
is
once in a while we almost kill each other, but otherwise,
yeah, we're
it's
fire and ice
few and far
from
between.
we're fire and ice from what's that figure skating? Oh, Blades of Glory. We're fire and ice. Yeah.
That's a good point. I like the Fire and Ice and Sour Patch. Those are both good ones. Well, thank you guys for everything. I mean, it's just crazy what you guys are helping us build. I mean, there wouldn't be any of this without you guys. So we'll leave it open for 60 seconds, and then I don't know. This was so good. Maybe we'll do like a special like holiday edition or something if we can find the time over the weekend.
Yeah, I like that. Y'all have a good 4th of July if you can. We understand if you can't.
We're leaving it open though for 60 seconds so that you guys can all connect.
Does that mean we should stay on here for 60 minutes or 60 seconds?
We're good. We're good to go. But I saw at Wajahat, Waj, he goes by, leaves his open for 60 seconds, and so do some others. So, because sometimes people are in the middle of the conversation, the comments, and then can't figure out who they were talking to or whatever. So I think it's a nice way to end, just so that people can. Maybe we'll do 120 seconds, Kyle, if you're able to create a nice little video for us. All right, I'll put up the counter and take us off. We'll see you guys.
Thanks, buddy.